You are an intelligent person. I know that. You know how to use YouTube. That already puts you ahead of the apes. Okay? I'm here to tell you you're not descended from the apes. Your great 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 grandparents were not half ape, half human. Bollocks. There's no science to prove it. Same, there's no science to prove this curvature. Yeah? Measurable curvature cannot be found. Don't be bringing your atmospheric this and that. I can see it with a fisheye lens and blah blah blah. No, you're lying to yourself. Okay, you know water is always, always, always flat, unless you use magic and call it gravity. Yeah. So, why are you frightened of Earth? Why? I think I know why. I think I understand that the fear is born out of a sense that if it's true, everything else is bullshit. Everything else is a lie. And that's a lot to get a hold of. Took me some time to get a hold of that. I'd already sort of slipped pretty deep, or gone pretty deep down the old rabbit hole of 9/11 and this, that, and the rest. But listen, if you're not looking, it's because you're frightened. If you're honestly not looking, if you're coming here to abuse me or just go to flat earth things and say you guys are moronic and when you put your head on the pillow tonight, you know you haven't actually researched the curvature formula. You haven't actually gone and found, any scientific evidence, that gravity exists. A man in a shed 300 years ago. Come on, Cavendish. Why don't we do it again? Why don't we do it again? You have to believe that astronauts went up in space. You have to believe that. You have to believe a guy had these balls in a shed and he said they saw them move from a distance. He had a telescope trained on them. But we don't do it. Same as Eratosthenes. We don't do those experiments. And you can't do the one that people say, oh, walk, you can triangulate, walk 10,000 miles this way, 10,000 miles that way, and you have to be on a ball and all that. Come on. Just look at the simple stuff. Water. How do things work? Trust your senses. The air is not moving at thousands of miles or being ripped along by friction. Water does not turn into ball shapes because it's sitting on something large. Yeah, it's fear. I'm sorry to say. By now, if you're not looking at it, it's fear. I can't really read that. The determinant. Can I read that? Hello, by the way. Determination of something gravity has been performed numerous times by multiple different methods. Do the research. Hey, why don't you ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, your hero, one of your priests? Why don't you ask him what gravity is? He will tell you. We don't know. We can predict with it and we can measure with it. We can see how things drop. Oh my God. Thank God that wasn't my toe. We can see how things drop, and that means that balls form in space and float on nothing. No. I mean, even the gravity wave thing, you have to rely on a machine that some dude coded, man. I used to believe, trust me, if you're still listening, I used to believe that they would ping a laser up to the moon and a little mirror would ping it back and a machine would go, ping, it's come back. Just one nanoproton or fucking minuscule atomon that you're never ever going to be able to see, I'm afraid. You won't see the light coming back, but trust my machine. You see, you need to go and look at some magicians and see how they kind of pull those tricks off. And where you're at is that you're in the kind of 5 to 8 year old category where you see the magician's trick and you are absolutely enthralled by it, right? The parents are going, no, I already know. I've seen that done before and I've seen how they do it. So I know that my mind was twisted, just like yours, my friend, to believe in things that are like religion, a load of faith, not actually measurable, tangible, measurable curvature. Go measure curvature. Do you know that if over 50 miles, you're meant to have like 1,800 feet or something of curvature? That means that if you're driving onto a city or coming over some water, you should actually see the city rise up in front of you. But on a clear day, you can see things over distances that are impossible on a ball the size they say we live on. Yes, I used to buy that we're too small and we're like ants and all this shit on a basketball. No, our vision is pretty good. And once you get up high, we can see hundreds of miles. And on a clear day, even on the ground, you could see. There's evidence of people seeing mountains in the sunset a few hundred miles away. And you don't buy the bullshit. It's all trickery that says, oh no, that's just some mirage. It's la 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 la. Isn't that? No, it's not. And it's magic tricks. So much respect, much love, but you're deluded, and it's fear, actually, because it does mean that everything you believe is a lie, and everyone that you give credit to, authority to, has been bamboozled. I'm not saying they're lying to you. They don't know. They are nescient in the most cases. Of course they are. They're teachers. They're just parents, human beings who have been lied to too by their parents. Well, they weren't lied to by their parents. Their parents were misinformed. Yeah, their parents. Let's go back a few generations, maybe 10 generations, 8 generations, to when no one was at school. Yeah, well, very few people. So now we come out of the forest, out of the fields, out of the villages, and all of a sudden we get thrown into a school. Right? And people who are much cleverer than us say, "Oh, and here's the history. We've written you some books that'll tell you all about what you are and how it works." And we go, "Oh, okay, that's pretty cool." You go home and tell granddad that they told you in school that Earth is a spinning ball, and he says, "Ha ha ha, ha, that's a load of shit." But you know what? When granddad dies, and you become granddad, you're telling your grandchildren Earth's a ball, and you truly believe it, and you might teach it. Now you've heard this, you owe it to yourself to do honest research, hours of honest research and thought. If you can't reach this, then okay. But I don't know how powerful this spell is that we're all under, but it seems for some it's easier to break out of it than others. I wish you luck and good luck and best wishes. You know, we're all in this together, whether you realize it or not.